This is the doll your daddy's gonna make in Mexico. And this is the factory where we're gonna make her and sew her little dresses. Isn't she beautiful?
May I have one, Daddy?
From the moment they met,
I'm gonna love her so much.
it was a fairy tale come true.
Good night, Dolly.
Sweet dreams, Dolly.
But this is where the fairy tale ends and the nightmare begins.
Dolly? Dolly?
Hey, all you ghosts and goblins, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, That Would Be Rad, the podcast that majors in 80s and 90s nostalgia, comic culture, all things paranormal, and minors in retro video games, tabletop RPGs, pre-internet mysteries, and raising our kids to be half as cool as we were back in the 80s. I'm your host, Tyler Bentz, and this is your other spooky host,
Woody Brown.
Hey, pal.
Hey, man. Don't
I'd
you
like
love how
a-
just every week, just one take. That's all I need. Okay.
Yeah, right, dude. Dude, the last 3 times that you've done it, we could create like a whole blooper reel
Nope.
of just you trying to get through it.
No way.
That's why I've literally said third time's a charm
Yeah.
for weeks.
Okay. Now, before we get to it today, a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, I got to brag on our dudes at Wizards because I went in there the other day. My son, my oldest, has been on the hunt for a like one of the original Nintendo Switches, the OLED kind.
Yep.
And I just, shot them a message and said, hey, I don't know if you have one in stock, but my son is just kind of pestering me about this. He is just dying to find one. We'd rather, find one locally through you guys.
Yeah.
And they said, we've got one. Come down to the shop. So my son and I went, and those guys, man, they're just the coolest dudes. All right. Yeah. Josh and Dustin from Wizards. I'm telling you right now, and this is going to be quite a statement here, but I mean it with 100% authenticity. Okay. And that is, if you don't live in Georgia and you want to come visit, and you're one of our listeners that just loves like retro video games, toys, comics, books,
Dolls.
I mean, VHS tapes, tons of DVDs too. I mean, every console you can imagine, Magic the Gathering. I mean, any of that stuff. Pokemon cards.
Marvel Legends.
It is worth it alone.
Yeah.
To just come to Georgia just for that. I mean, I'm not even joking. There's just so much amazing stuff. It's always kind of rotating.
Yeah.
Plus, everybody there is just incredible. So anyway, shout out to Wizards. And here's the other part. I was talking to them, and Dustin had actually been listening to the episode on the way into work that morning. And he's like, dude, I can't believe you didn't contact me about haunted toys, because I've been on 3 podcasts talking about his experience, apparently, with haunted stuff.
What? Why is this not that episode?
Exactly, right? So don't worry, listeners, and also Dustin. At some point, we're going to have him on, and we're going to dive deeper into his experiences and what he knows about haunted toys, since he's around so many. He even mentioned possibly a ghost within Wizards itself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I love? I mean, just before we move on real quick, you know what I love so much about this store? And again, there is no sort of affiliation. There's no sponsorship or anything like that. Anyway, the reason that I like it so much is because it's not part of like it's not like a chain store.
Right.
Every other store you go into. The closest thing that I can think of to like, and I mean, this is going to sound kind of random, but the closest thing I can think of to like an old school like movie store, like VHS, when you would show up on a Friday night, you walk in everybody's just kind of like hanging out and like having a good time, and you go in to get your movies for the weekend. It kind of has like that vibe.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, it really is bringing that vibe back. And then also, I mean, it's just awesome to support a business that, I mean, dude, it weathered the storm through COVID.
Yeah.
This is just you can tell they're very passionate about it. They're fair on their prices. They're just really, really cool.
Yeah.
And so, hats off to them. I couldn't, we could have a whole show just talking about how much we love them. So,
Big fan.
the other piece of business here is, I mean, several weeks ago, one of our listeners' wife, that sounded weird. One of our listeners' wives, I mean, because it sounds like they have more than one wife, which is, they're not
Like
fundamentalists or
sister
something.
wives.
Yeah. Anyways, our listener's wife reached out and said, hey, it's Lauren's birthday coming up. Would you guys mind giving her, sending her a message on her birthday, okay? Which was October 15th at the time of recording. We are fairly past that. And by the time you listen to this, it's,
Even more
It's even
past
more.
it.
So anyways, happy belated birthday to our listener, Lauren, all the way over in the UK. As much as you guys like to tell us that we're your favorite, y'all are our favorites. And we hope you have a happy birthday. Also, Matt Mann, one of our listeners out in Australia, recently celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday, mate. And
One of the best.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening to our show and putting up with our,
Rambling.
rambling is the great word.
Yeah, happy birthday. You guys are awesome. You guys keep us inspired and keep us doing what we do. Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yes, we wouldn't do it. Well, I think we would do it without you. But
Yeah.
it makes it so much more fun for us because anytime we interact with any of our listeners on Instagram, via email, whatever,
Yeah.
it kind of adds that personal, interaction experience, which is, building that community of people of like mind, I guess. And it's just so much fun. And we think of you when we turn the mics on.
Yep.
Yes, it's Tyler and I talking to one another, but it's also us talking to you, and we feel that each time. So
Yeah.
hats off.
Yeah, also, even though it's the year 2025, and we've had the internet for years at this point, the fact that, we just said happy birthday to two of our biggest fans, one in Australia, the other over in the UK, like, that still blows my mind.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it still just does it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something like, when you were a kid, like in the 80s, I mean, Woody's a boomer, but I'm, right on the cusp of millennial. It's like having that pen pal. It's like, wow, this is like magical. I'm sending this to, some foreign land. And it still kind of has that appeal for me.
Yeah, for sure. It makes the world seem even smaller. And we really feel like, we could land in several countries and just have friends there waiting to show us where the best coffee shops are and retro video game stores.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week, well, first off, let me say welcome back to the show. We're in the midst of our October Spectacular season here, and every week we're going to be bringing the spooky, the weird, and the stuff that just,
macabre.
Yeah, there you go. So last week, we kind of cracked open the glass cases and met some of the most infamous haunted dolls in history. We talked about Annabelle, of course. We talked about Robert the doll, who made the cover, actually, of our episode. Peggy, Janet, some really strange ones. George, remember him?
Oh,
and, several of these things that just definitely don't belong in anyone's house, much less, somebody's collection. But in today's show, we're going to get a little deeper. We didn't have time to last week. So in this second part of our series here, we're heading into the forgotten corners of the world, inside abandoned doll factories, haunted islands, and strange international legends, where the line between folklore and nightmare is going to blur completely. So, Tyler, listeners, grab your flashlight. Make sure you lock up that toy chest, or at least put something heavy on top of it, and settle in, because these dolls don't just stay still, they wait. Sometimes the creepiest dolls aren't the ones just handed down in families or kept in cases by these collectors. Sometimes, bro, they just show up. No backstory, no explanation, just found in strange places, often discarded like trash. And like we talked about last week, I bet we could conclude that maybe there's a reason people wanted them gone.
Yeah.
First one we're going to talk about today are Richard and Sarah, otherwise known as the Lover's Doll. One of the eeriest of these abandoned cases was discovered by a man named Ben Canham in England. And Ben, if you're listening, I certainly mispronounced your name, so my apologies. It's probably like Quetzalcoatl or something, but spelled Canham. All right. I mean, he bought a box of...
But it's pronounced Canham.
But it's pronounced canned ham.
Wait, what is the one that we kept messing up on that our friend up in around Boston?
Yeah, I don't remember, man.
God, dude, the word looked the opposite of the way it sounds.
And I refused to do it. You know?
I think it was our
all those years of schooling, and I'm supposed to pronounce it differently? No.
Yeah. No right. Phonics involved.
No. So, Ben had bought a box of old junk at a sale. And, I mean, that reminds me of us, right? You're going along, you're going to these garage sales or yard sales, as we like to call them, maybe even estate sales, and you just kind of take the whole box, $50. You know, there's VHS in there. You don't really want to dig around. Some of it's too dusty. You don't want to kick it up. You want to at least vacuum it out when you get home first.
Yeah.
Well, he bought this box of old stuff, and buried inside, he found a doll with an envelope taped to it that read, "Read me."
Ooh.
Inside was a handwritten note. It explained that the doll and a small box had originally been found in an abandoned car in 1990. A woman had taken them home, but soon noticed the doll moving around on its own, and the box opening by itself.
I've heard about this.
She would hear giggles in the night, footsteps up and down the stairs. I mean, classic scary movie material, classic haunted doll stuff here. The woman eventually turned to her aunt for help, and during a seance, the aunt claimed to contact the spirits of a Richard and Sarah, who were lovers in life, but now bound to these items in death. Sarah to the doll, Richard to the box. I mean, what a way, you know?
Wait a minute, what?
So Sarah, the spirit of Sarah,
right,
is
the doll,
bound to this doll. The spirit of Richard, he kind of got the shaft here.
Yeah, it's like, I
bound
got
to the box.
Rock.
He's like, I am the box.
Wow.
So the note though warned of whispers, these footsteps, and even advised using white sage if things got too intense. Now, instead of getting rid of it, old Canham added the doll to the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Center in Hinckley, where he volunteers.
Okay.
So to me, right there, hold on just a second, that kind of says a couple things. Number one, I guess he's probably going out looking for this stuff, which is increasing his odds. Because, I mean, immediately I'm like, dude, what are the odds that somebody that volunteers at a place like this just happens upon a doll and her husband, the box?
I gotta say, man, this is the only story that I've ever heard where it's sort of a...
Yeah, but we've talked, dude. We've talked about inanimate objects. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but one just being like... I mean, we're just talking about like a cardboard box.
But he, like, think about it in terms of it's he's protecting her.
I mean, I get it. It's just...
He just wraps those cardboard arms around her and keeps her safe, But listen, though, okay. So he brings it to this antiques place.
Yeah.
Paranormal antiques, which is pretty cool. And that's when the activity really kind of started kicking in again. The box would unlock itself. So I'm guessing it's not cardboard. It's more like a wooden box.
Oh, okay. This makes more sense.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The box unlocks itself.
Like Dybbuk box type vibes.
Lights flicked on and off. Footsteps echoed throughout the building. And then, yes, the sound of unseen laughter. Canham described it perfectly, said, quote, "It is scary, but at the same time, it is interesting. Interestingly scary." So that's all for that one. But I think what's kind of cool about what he said there in that quote, it kind of reminds me of us in a way. You know, myself personally,
Like
I don't really
twin
wanna
flames.
be around or involved with anything like that, but it is interesting to explore and think about, you know?
Yeah, like the twin flames idea.
Oh my God.
Like our souls, like you would be this old beat up,
Just
like boomer cardboard box.
I don't know why I'm literally not even a
And
year.
then there's me, this like young shiny object.
So
You're not
I'm
even
9 months
attention.
older than you.
Okay, Grandpa.
So what do you think about that, man? I mean, like you said, we've never read about a case, and you doesn't sound like you've heard of one where
No way.
two people that are, well, hold on now. I'm thinking of, we just talked about this off the mic yesterday or the day before. There are situations that we know of within our local area of Native Americans who, let's say,
right.
almost like a Romeo and Juliet sort of tragic
Yeah.
love story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a legend close by to where we live in the area called Sawtee, where I guess like a boy and a girl who were in love with each other.
Two opposing tribes. I mean, it really is just like Romeo and
Okay.
Juliet.
And they ended up kind of jumping off of a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Legend states that they jumped off a cliff together.
Yeah.
And, apparently their souls are intertwined in terms of that,
Yeah.
So maybe this is something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what's weird? I have actually thought about, so it's pretty much the town that I grew up in Cleveland, Georgia, specifically, I guess, like Helen, Georgia, where Sawtee kind of sits. And I've often wondered, like, man, it really is like on the nose as far as like the Romeo and Juliet theme. And so, I have wondered throughout my life, like, is this true or is this some sort of embellishment? And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You never know with that stuff.
Yeah.
So now let's go to 1968. There's a doll named Charlie, and it was discovered inside this Victorian home in upstate New York. He was at the time locked away in a trunk with old newspapers from the 30s and a note containing the Lord's Prayer. At first, the new homeowners thought he was just, another antique doll.
Yeah.
That is until things started happening. Charlie would move around during the night. He'd show up in different parts of the room just on his own. It began to escalate when the youngest daughter in the family claimed that Charlie was talking to her. Soon, all 5 daughters who lived in the house were so terrified that they refused to even be near the doll. Sometimes scratches would appear on one of the child's body, seemingly out of nowhere. So eventually, they'd had it. The family locked Charlie back in the trunk and eventually sold him at a yard sale. Sorry, folks. He passed through a few hands before ending up in Beverly, Massachusetts at an oddity shop called Local Artesian, where he still unnerves visitors to this day.
Oh, wow. So he was never resold. He kind of became the mascot. See, that's pretty cool.
This is one of those dolls, when you see this picture, man, this is one of those dolls that kind of, much like the ones from last year, the fact that it's so old, worn down, just, those elements of like areas of the paint is kind of like scraped away or faded, cracked, all that kind of stuff. It just adds to the creepiness of this thing.
Yeah. You know what I wonder, though? I wonder if, again, for our longtime listeners, we talk about this probably every show, but, the idea of like tulpa and thought forms and stuff, it's like putting so much intention or attention into these sort of inanimate objects, and then they kind of seem to sort of exist on their own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if part of this, like, you know, quote unquote, like haunting or the cursed aspect, and they're doing this, they're making all these noises, they're doing this. I wonder if when you actually give it attention and sort of, how do I say this? Like when you kind of play along as if it's a living entity, if that's giving it like what it needs to no longer kind of be a nuisance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like being in this like oddity shop and them giving this attention to it as of like, oh, this is, you know, this is our friend, you know,
It's just automatically going to get the attention that it's trying to get when it's quote unquote acting out.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's like a little kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
But
I mean, they still do the weird stuff though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, maybe he's just showing out. He's like,
there's people around. Bam, bam, bam. Ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now we're going to go, and I mean, I'm so glad that we're doing this one because we're heading to an area that from, I guess, birth to middle school in this area.
Here we go.
And that is Singapore. And this is the Hougang Doll, okay? This is one of those that I was talking about. Not every doll seems to lurk in an old attic or something. They just appear right out in the open. Mm-hmm. In 2014, people in the Hougang area of Singapore noticed a strange doll sitting against a tree on a busy road. She was blindfolded with the word Bismillah, meaning in the name of God, written across the cloth in black ink.
Don't like that.
No. When the story hit Reddit, the legend, of course, took off. People claimed that the doll was possessed, that it whispered in Malay, meaning, you know, the Malaysian language, that it moved on its own, and even that removing the blindfold meant that the doll would hunt you down. One chilling rumor said that an unaliving happened in a nearby apartment the very same day the doll appeared. Eventually, photos of the doll surfaced without the blindfold, and one Redditor summed up the collective reaction, which is, well, it looks unhappy. Good luck, whoever took it. No one knows where the doll is now, or maybe most importantly, who left it there. Just another mystery lost to urban legend. Now, I saw pictures of this, and it is creepy, man. It's just that same sort of thing. Whenever there's something out of place in your normal everyday life, again, it ratchets up that fear factor. For example, if you went out to your car right this second and you open the door and there's just a little doll sitting there.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That was blindfolded. I mean, what are you doing? Are you touching the doll? Are you just closing the door back up, going back inside and be like, can't make it in today?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also something, you know, I mean, we kind of briefly touched on this, I think, the last episode, but there is something too about that sort of juxtaposition of like, you know, this like little, even if it's really like cute little doll that's like, you know, not threatening looking at all. There's no prayer on it or anything. That just sitting on your car as you walk out, you know, in the dark, it's like, there's something about that that's unsettling as well. Oh, no. We talked about it with the black-eyed kids as far as like, you know, kids are representative of, you know, innocence and, you know, we're supposed to like protect them as adults. And then to have them sort of flipped and put in like a threatening light, it's like, it just makes it scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. And, you know, so far we've talked about just like either a single doll or in some cases, I guess, a doll in a box, just different things that kind of occur. But if we think about it in terms of just a single doll and that being enough to kind of keep us up at night, what about places where there are hundreds of them rotting away, staring, and maybe even whispering to each other in the dark?
Oh, I know where you're going now.
A couple places, actually. So let's start with one of the lesser known but deeply unsettling spots that I found, and that is a ruined doll factory in Mexico.
Whoa.
So imagine walking into a half-collapsed ruin of a building where the floor is littered with these disembodied doll arms and legs, porcelain heads perched on shelves with their empty eyes staring into the shadows, and the dust of decades just thick on everything. I mean, already, dude, that is just absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Locals there say that the factory isn't just creepy, but that it's haunted. Visitors have reported shadowy figures drifting through the rubble. And signs. This is scary too, man. Maybe even scarier. I don't know. Signs of ritual activity have been discovered there, with dead chickens, arcane markings, and strange offerings left behind. There's an urban explorer guy there named Nacho Labrador. Didn't make it up. Okay.
I was about to say that. You sure about that?
Yeah, no, it's like Nacho Libre, Nacho Labrador, okay? Mm-hmm. And he's investigated the site multiple times. And he flat out warns people to stay away. In his words, he says, quote, "Seriously, do not enter the factory. I took a doll's head and a box, and I had to return it. Now, that site gives me a strong anxiety. It has something. There have been rituals there. I'm sure of it." So yeah, doll parts, occult rituals, shadowy people. I mean, that's just a hard pass, man. I don't think that's not a big surprise, I think, if you're a listener to the show. I'm not going in there. And that's not fun for me.
And I definitely am.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Then that gives us stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be there to talk about it.
That's true.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Hey, we are breaking into that house, though, by the way.
Nope.
Yes, sir.
I cannot have a breaking in and
making it a family outing.
Okay. Next up is one that I think is relatively well known in terms of abandoned places with dolls everywhere. And that is...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
Ford Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving takes the work out of being behind the wheel, allowing you to relax and reconnect, while also staying in control. Enjoy the drive in Blue Cruise-enabled vehicles like the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang Mach-E. Available feature on equipped vehicles. Terms apply. Does not replace safe driving. See Ford.com/BlueCruise for more details.
The detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men.
The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
Every story you love, every invention that moves you, every idea you wished was yours, all began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor, asking a simple question. What do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Comcast is committed to bringing access to the internet to all Americans, including rural communities across the country, like Sussex County, Delaware.
We were being left behind. Everybody around us seemed to have internet, but we did not. High-speed internet is one of those good things that we needed to help us move our farming, our small businesses, our recreation forward.
Learn more about how we're bringing our next-generation network to more people across the country at comcastcorporation.com/investment in America.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no dead.
Hey, this is Woody.
And this is Tyler. And you're listening to That Would Be Rad.
And now, back to our show. We're talking about La Isla de las Muñecas, which translates to the island of the dolls.
Mm-hmm.
This infamous spot sits in the canals of Xochimilco, Mexico City, among the historic chinampas, or floating gardens. These man-made islands date back to Aztec times, and at the time were used for farming. Today, tourists float through the canals on colorful gondolas called trajineras. But tucked among these lush waterways, man, is a place unlike any other. A small island covered in dolls. Now, the legend itself begins in the 1950s with a man named Don Julian Santa Barrera. And he was a recluse who lived alone on the island. Barrera, I'm not going to go deep into my pronunciation there, claimed to have witnessed a little girl drown in the nearby canal. Afterward, he insisted that her spirit haunted him, hearing giggles, scratching on the windows, even glimpsing her ghostly figure at night. Then one day, a doll floated down the canal. Barrera saw it as a sign. He hung it up on a tree and hoped it would protect him from the girl's spirit. But the haunting didn't stop. So he collected more dolls, and more, and more. He scavenged them from the canals, traded vegetables for them, hung them from the trees, nailed them to fences, and scattered them across the island. Soon, There were hundreds of dolls, decaying, missing limbs, and staring with glassy eyes. Locals began to whisper that the dolls came alive at night, roaming the island, whispering and giggling. Some claimed Barrera treated them like they were living children. He would sing to them and move them around, or even talk to them as if they were answering back. The legend turned darker when, years later, Barrera himself was found dead, floating face down in the very same canal where the girl had drowned. People say his spirit never left and that he still lingers on the island surrounded by his grim family. Today, La Isla de las Muñecas is a tourist curiosity. The dolls still remain, now even more disturbing looking after decades of weather. Their faces cracked, their hair tangled, their bodies filthy and falling apart. But get this, man, visitors actually bring new dolls as a sort of offering, believing that they'll become part of the island's strange network of haunted toys.
Wow.
Locals will tell you, though, if you go, that you're not just visiting a creepy island of dolls, you're stepping into a haunted shrine to tragedy, obsession, and death. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to kind of unpack with that. I mean, I feel like the poor guy, he was kind of a loner.
Yeah.
Initially, I remember when I first read this, I thought perhaps it would be more like, you know, the guy that built like the Coral Castle or something like that, making some sort of like, I don't know, site for people to come see and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it sounds more like he was just kind of like a recluse, and he might have
kind of lost it.
Kind of lost it a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think it was like, was it Destination Truth? I think there was an old episode where they visited it in like the early 2000s, and so it's kind of been around. But for some reason, I feel like I remember it not being such a like a tragic story. Like his intentions were very much, to make it for like the local kids to come visit. Like it was like a, and I mean, being a byproduct of being left out in the elements and stuff. The dolls are going to start looking like creepy and
right.
kind of terrifying. But for me, I thought that his intentions were kind of like, he's an old man. He wants to bring joy to like the local kids and stuff.
Yeah.
One little bit of info though is that recently Lady Gaga filmed her music video for The Dead Dance, which was released back in September, part of the Netflix Wednesday series. And she did that with one of our favorites, Tim Burton.
Oh, wow. Man, so they were like on location.
Yeah. Apparently something about like I guess he had visited the area. He did like some sort of like some kind of like exhibition in Mexico, and he just thought it was like, I got to do something here. So
right,
it's pretty cool.
And the cool thing about some of these international ones too is, you're talking about areas that are so much older in terms of their structures and stuff than anything that we're used to here in the States. And so once again, imagine like exploring one of those ancient Aztec temples or something, and you unearth some strange handmade doll from that era.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know what it is. Is it a toy? Is it some sort of sacrificial thing? Is it some sort of totem?
Yeah.
You just don't know. And so that's why I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Wait until the next mud flood that Tyler talks about all the time.
Well, that did happen. So it really is kind of, I think that was a good point, what you said earlier, how it really is kind of a, it's sort of constantly sort of evolving now that people, bring their own dolls and stuff. So it really is kind of like a shrine, kind of like the Coral Castle.
But it's weird because, we talk about, and we have over the last several episodes, talk about that requirement almost of the invitation. One of our listeners actually wrote us and had a pretty good idea. Hold on. Matt had a really cool concept, and basically he said that the idea of the transactional nature of letting in a paranormal or interdimensional / demonic presence is really fascinating. We agree, especially when the transaction is unintentional. And he says, I'm curious as to where some of the boundaries of that are. Do you think paying for a ghost tour could serve as a transaction, or even purchasing a house that you don't know is haunted or has some entity in it? And I kind of wrote back, honestly, no clue, but I think that's what makes it the scariest, really, So, for example, the ghost tour, I don't know. I mean, because, even saying it out loud, I begin to sound sort of like, I don't know, like an old religious guy or something, but I probably wouldn't necessarily. I feel like that could be. You might be inviting that power or the opportunity for it to like latch onto you and follow you home kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like there being that transaction of, oh, well, you paid for it. It's like you're kind of going along with, I don't know if ritual would suffice, but like, you're sort of completing the transaction.
Right.
But then like, I don't know, I do go back and forth because it's like, at what point, whenever we talk about this stuff, at what point are we just, is like everything you do like part of some sort of transaction? It's like, okay, paying to do a thing, like that's one thing, but it's like, okay, is that also considered part of a transaction if you just go to the place?
Right. I feel like it's like paying to go on a ghost tour is like transaction light. In other words,
right.
You're kind of maybe putting yourself at risk to have an interaction with something evil, but I don't think it's giving that evil thing permission.
Permission, right.
But I said all of that to kind of say, when you're bringing dolls to this to this island, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of contributing to this. I don't know that would be necessarily a transaction, but I do think, or something that I thought of when we were talking about this, is maybe by doing so, you're just kind of like, it's kind of like, okay, it's sort of like a fire, right? If you just light a fire, eventually it's going to die down to nothing. But if you keep on coming back and adding wood, fresh wood to the fire, it's going to not only keep burning and stay quote unquote alive, but it's also, if you add enough, going to kind of make it bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what that reminds me of by bringing those dolls to it,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So we're going to bring a whole bag of salt when we head down to Mexico and just kind of draw circles.
Huge circle around the whole place.
Okay, now, when we talk about international haunted dolls, the funny thing is, I really kind of just ended up in a certain region. And more specifically, well, broadly speaking, it's, Southeast Asia. I guess, if anybody that is a horror fan that is listening, that Japanese and Korean horror is just like next level, bro. Right?
Yep.
You can't even watch like kid anime or read kid manga without it being kind of like, now, is that appropriate?
Yeah.
I'm even talking about like the oops, there's a nudity.
Yeah.
I'm talking about,
oops, there's a nudity.
There's a nudity. I'm talking about just like, monsters and demons and stuff. And you're just like, whoa, I thought this was supposed to be about, volleyball. So most sort of narrowed down, it's going to be Japan. Because I think Japan, when it comes to creepy dolls, is probably going to be the world champion. Everything from the country's folklore and modern urban legends, they're just absolutely packed with stories of dolls that, again, blur the line between toy and ritual object and vessel for the dead. So the first is probably the most famous, and that is the Okiku doll. Back in 1918, a young boy bought a doll while traveling in Hokkaido and gave it to his little sister, Okiku. Now, she adored this doll. In fact, so much so that she named the doll after herself. But the following year, tragedy struck. Okiku fell ill with influenza and died. Her devastated family placed the doll on a home altar in her memory. Soon, though, they began to notice something strange. The doll's hair, originally a neat sort of shoulder-length cut began to grow.
Whoa.
Now, no matter how many times they trimmed the hair, man, the hair kept coming back, eventually reaching the doll's knees.
So we're talking like not just like, I think the hair's grown. We're talking like full on like...
Dude, we're talking, hey, I'm pretty sure that doll wasn't sitting in that chair yesterday.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I think I heard a knock on the wall. We're talking about hair's growing like a human.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times they trimmed it, it just kept on growing back.
Mm-hmm.
The family, in fact, became convinced that Okiku's spirit had taken up residence inside of her namesake.
Wow.
When they eventually moved, they ended up entrusting the doll to Menenji Temple in Iwamizawa, where it still resides today.
Man, so
and
well
it's
said.
Thank you. Housed in a modest little wooden box. Now, even now, the priest claimed to cut the doll's hair because it continues to mysteriously grow. Scientists, okay, skeptics, if you're listening?
No way.
Have even confirmed that the hair is human. However, why it grows or who it belongs to remains unexplained. Okiku's legend has grown into books, films, plays, and even adding ghostly embellishments that she cries, laughs, or even walks at night. But the original story, the spirit of this little girl forever bound to her doll, is chilling enough, man, without all that other stuff.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's really cool. Like, if you see, like, hold on. Like, look at this thing.
What?
I know. Crazy, right?
God, I mean, it is pretty creepy looking.
Uh-huh.
Just because it kind of looks real.
And it kind of, like, if I was going to make a movie about this, it would sort of be like, the child's, it sounds so morbid, but welcome to Japanese horror. The child is super sick. It's without a doubt, she's, nearing death.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to some, like, old Japanese shaman up in the, in the countryside of Japan. And they just beg him to do something, and he knows some ritual that will bind
keep the soul here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the child's body is failing, so it's like just sort of transplanting it into like a new vessel, Yeah, that's strange, man. That photo is really kind of I wonder is it so creepy because of the hair?
Yeah. What's really weird too, man, is my mom actually had some dolls when we lived overseas that looked just like this. But like I was talking about, maybe they took it to someone who knew how to do this.
Yeah.
Check this out. There is a thing in Japan, a ritual called Ushi no Koku Mairi, which translates into a visit to the shrine at the hour of the ox. And this is between 1 and 3 a.m., and it's basically Japan's version of voodoo. It uses a doll called a waraningyo, a straw effigy meant to represent your enemy. So this is less about haunting and more about using these dolls as a means to curse someone. Practitioners dress in ritual garb, and then they nail the doll to a sacred shrine into these shrine trees with iron spikes, and then they embed hair and nails or other personal items of the victim into this effigy. But here's the catch, dude. If anyone catches you doing it, the curse supposedly rebounds onto you. That is, unless you kill the witness. That's how deadly serious this ritual was considered. Some shrine trees are still scarred with centuries of iron spikes from people carrying out this dark practice. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, that's nuts.
Let me see if I can find one of these dolls here.
And also, kind of what we were talking about the last time. Like once there's pieces of human or parts of human bodies basically involved in these dolls, it does take the creepiness to just another level.
Yeah, it's like the doll that we talked about last week with the glass eyes or the
and the hair,
actual teeth and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this Ushi no Kukumairi kind of shows up a little bit in their folklore still. And like I said, man, there's still trees out there that have like these scarred areas on the tree where people had spiked these iron nails basically into them with these dolls.
So if you're seen doing it, that's like...
Then the curse is going to come back on you unless you kill the witness.
Jeez.
I mean, just next level, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
We will return after these messages.
This is a real good story about Bronx and his dad, Ryan, real United Airlines customers.
We were returning home, and one of the flight attendants asked Bronx if he wanted to see the flight deck and meet Captain Andrew.
I got to sit in the driver's seat.
I grew up in an aviation family, and seeing Bronx kind of reminded me of myself when I was that age.
That's Andrew, a real United pilot.
These small interactions can shape a kid's future.
It felt like I was the captain.
Allowing my son to see the flight deck will stick with us forever.
That's how good leads the way.
It's a pretty cool place if you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
You think you really know what's happening around here, don't you?
Is anyone out there?
We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Hey, this is Woody.
And this is Tyler. And you're listening to That Would Be Rad.
And now, back to our show. Now let's fast forward to the internet age.
Mm-hmm.
And Japan has actually birthed another infamous doll ritual called Hitori Kakurinbo, or one man, hide and seek.
Made it up.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Oh, man. What if I really made up the translation? I'm like, one man, hide and seek. This is a game, allegedly, that went viral around 2007. And it essentially is, playing hide and seek with a doll that you've intentionally, here we go, invited a spirit into. The instructions are so specific and so sinister that, dude, it feels less like a game and more like a strange sort of, I don't know, dare. What you do is you remove the doll stuffing, replace it with rice and a fingernail clipping, sew it shut with red thread, and stab it at exactly 3 a.m. Now, after dunking it into a bathtub full of water, you hide while the doll supposedly goes looking for you. I gotta say, folks, hold on, there's even more here. You basically hold salt water in your mouth for protection. That's the only protection you have. If you don't finish the game properly, the legend says that the spirit inside will turn on you, sometimes even kill you. Now, of course, because it's more modern, there are these countless sort of creepy testimonials online, like TVs switching channels on their own, sudden drops in temperature, nausea, panic, and of course, dolls that aren't where you left them. It's kind of more of an urban legend, but whether it's an urban legend or real, dude, it's just not a game. This is the stuff that fascinates me. People are actually doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Oh boy, are you about to tell me that you would try this?
Well, no.
Oh,
No, I don't know that I would try this.
I don't know that I would. What are you talking about? This is a hard no.
No. Okay, definitely no.
Only because I see. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me preface this because it sounds like you being sort of on the fence about it lends more to like the belief that would make the doll come to life. My point is, which that's valid. If that's your stance. For me, it's I don't even want to mess with it.
No, I
don't want to find out.
I'm just saying, like, I can see kids. I mean, we did some dumb stuff.
Yeah. We would do the what you call it,
like Bloody Mary and
yes,
Ouija boards and stuff. I mean,
not me.
I'm not a Ouija board fan at all. But just thinking of like kids, like this is I could see kids easily doing stuff like this.
And I think that's the danger, man. Like as an adult, you kind of like, well, I don't really want to mess with that stuff. You're right. As a teenager, as an idiot, when you're a kid, you're going to do all kinds of risky behavior. One of them being like, oh, that's probably not going to happen. Next thing you know, 3 a.m., you got this little bitty doll running around the house trying to get you.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to sleep, man.
What is the deal with like the candles?
Whoops. I didn't say anything about candles, Val.
No, I'm just looking at the Oh, I guess that's just like a headlamp. Dude, that's
Just
pretty
use a flashlight, pal.
I was like, is this like part
That's
of
their headlamp, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, like
that's-
that is pretty freaking bad of the bone.
Also, that's probably the most dangerous part of the whole thing. Wearing candles on the top of your head.
Tyler's talking about the picture of the Ushi no Kokumari, and it is an old sort of drawing depicting somebody about to nail this doll to a tree, and they're wearing like this almost crown of lit candles on their head to serve as their headlamp so they can keep their hands free, which is, while innovative, also kind of crazy. Imagine like they're just like, ow, ow, okay, ow, ouch. The wax is just dripping on their scalp.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And, you know, you're supposed to not get caught. Well, you come back home, you got freaking wax all over your head. Hey, honey, where you been? I was looking in the shed for some... Anyway.
Doll's eyes.
Okay, so not all of Japan's creepy dolls are supernatural, really. Some are just like, too real. Okay? Check this out, man. In the 1880s, there's this Japanese artist named Hananuma Masakichi, and he crafted these iki ningyo, or living dolls, that were so lifelike, it was said to be indistinguishable from a real person.
Wow.
He modeled them after himself, including pores, human hair, teeth, and fingernails. Masakichi was dying of tuberculosis and wanted to leave his lover a perfect replica of himself. Uh-oh. But here's the thing, he didn't die. And his lover left anyway. And the doll became a curiosity, eventually bought by Robert Ripley of Ripley's Believe It or Not fame. Today it still exists, unsettling visitors with its eerie realism, man. Check this out, hold on. I mean, super lifelike, man. And what's crazy is, like, think about it, it's 1880s. So he's just like an incredible sculptor, making these things like super realistic. I mean... Wow. When you look at it, though, and you think about it in terms of like, okay, so just imagine you've got this girlfriend. It didn't say wife. It just said, his lover. Right. So imagine he's got this girlfriend, okay? And he just, like, she thinks he's going to work every day.
Yeah.
The bills start to pile up. She says, hey, what have you been doing? And he can't contain his excitement, right? So he says, come out to the workshop. She follows him in there. And then she just sees a realistic... lifelike living doll of himself, and she's just like, I'm done.
Terrifying.
I'm done. We're breaking up.
Yeah, that's what did it. That was the nail in the coffin.
But imagine like actually like coming to visit your friend, and they just have like a lifelike replica of themselves just sitting in the room. I mean, that's kind of scary, you know?
I mean, especially this one. I mean, this looks like
legit. Yeah,
this is like way better than like wax museum quality.
Yeah, take that, Madam, whatever her name was.
Tussauds. Is that it? Yeah. Which, by the way, wax museums are, to me, have always been super inconsistent. Like, one will be like, wow, like it really does look like them. Then the next one is like, that looks absolutely nothing like the person.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I always love it whenever it's hilariously bad.
Bad, yeah. Yeah, me too.
All right. This is one of those situations next that we're going to talk about where I think it started with good intentions, and just because of the nature of it, it ended up just being creepy. Okay? In Nagoro, this tiny little town on the Shikoku Island, the living population has dwindled to just a few dozen people. It's one of those situations, I think it happens a lot more overseas, but, you know, it does happen here in the States where you've got this, like, rural community, and eventually all the young people kind of, like, move out and go away. And so all that's left are sort of like the old grandparents and that kind of thing. And that's kind of what's happening here. It's so somewhat remote that it's really just a bunch of older folks that live in this community. But get this, man, the streets aren't empty because one woman, Tsukimi Ayano, has actually repopulated the town with these sort of life-size dolls.
Ooh.
She started by making a scarecrow of her father and then kept going, has crafted over 400 dolls to represent villagers who had died or moved away.
And that's why no new visitor even comes.
Yeah, you know, seats taken. Because now classrooms are full of silent doll, quote, students. Farmers are working the fields. Commuters wait at bus stops that no bus ever comes to. The entire town has been transformed into this valley of dolls that's frozen in time, watching with blank faces.
Dude, this may be the scariest one of all.
Come on, dude. I mean, look at this. It reminds you of like, you haven't even...
No, dude.
You haven't seen Weapons, but anyway.
Easy.
I'm not giving away anything. I'm just saying these dolls in a classroom. There's a scene in a classroom in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. Now, tourists visit Nagoro to see the Scarecrow Village. But for many, the sight of hundreds of human-sized dolls standing in for the dead is more unsettling than any kind of ghost story.
My God. That is so scary.
Right?
Because she didn't even try to make these look lifelike.
No.
They look like sock puppets.
Well, dude, that's kind of unfair, right? Maybe this is her trying.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, hold on, let me show you some other ones that are just... But see, this is the thing. Like, I feel bad because, like, she's really trying to do something nice. You know, at least for her, but probably for the other residents, to make them feel like they still live in a place where people are. But then at some point, no matter what, I think you kind of start to cross a line a little bit. To where you might, I bet she even talks to these folks. Again, with good intentions. I don't know that she necessarily believes that they're talking back, but there is that sort of, it reminds me of I Am Legend when he just kind of out of necessity interacting with
the mannequins
and stuff because there's nobody else. And we're all human and we have to have something like that. And so he just creates it, you know? And so I think for her and maybe the other people there, it kind of helps them get along through their day and brings them joy. I don't think she's doing it for a scary reason. It's just, man alive, that would creep me out.
Yeah, dude. It's very disturbing. I mean, that's a great point, actually, the I Am Legend thing, because it is almost exactly like that.
Yeah, he's like going to the video store and like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Japan's kind of got the market cornered on haunted dolls and ritualistic type stuff, potentially, but another place that I spent early childhood is Indonesia.
Yeah.
And it's carved out its own terrifying niche with something that feels halfway between folklore and a living nightmare, and that is the jinglat. So the jinglat isn't your typical porcelain or rag doll. I'm going to show you this picture now, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Check this thing out, bro. Just look at it while I'm describing it to you. Imagine something only a few inches tall, actually, with shriveled dark skin, long, wiry hair, sharp fangs, and grotesque little claws.
Dude, this looks just like a vampire.
Right. They look like desiccated mummies of vampires, really. Right?
Yeah.
And some people swear that they're still alive. Now, depending on who you ask, stories of the jinglat began in the 1970s or in the 1990s on the island of Java, which again is where I lived.
Yeah.
They're said to be created through occult rituals by shamans or sometimes even the cursed remains of humans who once sought out eternal life through meditation and forbidden knowledge. However, instead of immortality, they ended up cursed, shrunken down, and rejected by the earth itself, and then spat back out as these ghastly little figures. Now, here's where it gets a little disturbing here. The jinglat doesn't move on its own. It has to be animated with black magic. But once awakened, it requires a daily offering of blood. They're like little mini vampires, man. Owners supposedly keep them in small black boxes, feeding them drops of blood to keep them docile. If you miss a feeding, then the jinglat is said to grow violent, lashing out at its keeper, or worse, whoever's nearby.
Jeez.
In some tellings, they can crawl from their boxes, man, when hungry and showing up in random spots around the house. One Indonesian medical practitioner says that on its own, a jinglat has no power. It is only when black magic is used that a jinglat can serve its master, whether for protection, luck, beauty or revenge.
Mm.
It's almost like it's this creepy little vampire doll servant.
Yeah.
And the idea of keeping one in your home is to us, I guess, in a Western society, is both ridiculous and horrifying at the same time. But you have to remember, so many of these cultures and stuff go so far beyond our own, you know? I mean, in terms of time on Earth. And, you know, it kind of, in a way, some of these that you'll see online kind of remind me of the Fiji mermaids. You know, like maybe they're just kind of homemade sort of things. And I think in some ways that's okay too, because maybe it is just sort of some symbolic, ritualistic thing that they do, and then those things come to life. But plenty of Indonesian locals believe that the Jenglot is more than a hoax. There's been exhibitions showing off, you know, a lot of them often said to have finally, some of them being, you know, allegedly dead Jinglots said to have finally perished after being deprived of blood.
Yeah.
Some collectors pay thousands for them.
Yeah. I mean, like we talked about last time, like people buying, there being like a market for like haunted items or cursed objects.
Here's the kicker though, even when science kind of steps in to examine things like the hair, they confirm that it's real. You know, believers of this Jinglot argue that it doesn't really matter because to them it's still a vessel, like I was saying, for dark power, no matter, you know, just kind of similar to a haunted doll in the West. And it's really kind of that, for them specifically, for this case specifically, what kind of creeps me out the most is a couple of things. One, maybe it's made out of real old dead stuff, skin, teeth, hair, nails. But then also this idea of an object that is hungry, that needs to be satiated in some way.
Yeah.
You know, a doll that just sits up on your shelf, stares at you, maybe turns its head. Trust me. Okay, I'm not, you know, simplifying that or saying that that's not terrifying, because it is, and I would get rid of it. But one that requires something like this, it takes it far beyond that sort of invitation or, you know, permission idea that we talk about. And now you're actually doing something actively, daily.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah, therein lies the ritual. It's like, even if it's actually, whether it's doing anything or not, it's that it's you know, consistently, daily doing the thing, like going through the motions.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you're committing to that part of it, then you're in for the long haul, man.
I mean, it really is. I don't know. The idea that it sort of relies on you for sustenance, though, like to me, that sort of delegitimizes it a little bit.
Kind of, except that if you kind of dive deeper into like vampire folklore, and let's say you have a really, really ancient one. I mean, if you go and watch Nosferatu or whatever, any time that you've got like a being that has sort of been alive but barely alive, for thousands of years, you know, you give it a little bit of blood or whatever, and it kind of has enough power to kind of, you know, creak. You know, I mean, it doesn't do much. And so if you're just kind of, it's almost like you're keeping it at bay. If you give it more than that little bit daily, then maybe it could walk around on its own and do whatever it wanted. But by doing this, you're almost like guaranteeing your power over it in a way that you're its master. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're keeping it, you're giving it just enough to keep it alive.
Right.
Without it being, which by the way, I'm very proud to say that I introduced my kids to the Monster Squad.
Man, that is so funny that you said that, because I realized I haven't shown my kids the Monster Squad.
It's awesome.
Oh, man, it's the best.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I mean, and what's funny is like my oldest, she was like, this kind of feels like a scary version of Goonies. And you can tell that they really were leaning in on that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Anyway, yeah, I say all that to say that, yeah, it kind of reminds me also of like, and there's multiple like film and books and stuff where this has to happen, but it kind of reminds me of when, you know, like during the day when like the vampires have to be in their coffins, or they have to be, it's like they have to be almost taken care of.
Right.
When they're in that state, because they are sort of
super vulnerable.
So vulnerable. Yeah. So yeah, this is really interesting. Like it like has a lot to do with sort of, classic vampire lore.
Right. And I mean, so cool to me. Like when I found this, I was like, man, yes. First, excited that it's Indonesia. It's something that I hadn't heard about when I was there.
Yeah.
Not that, if I was 12, what would I do? I'd still not be like, well, I'm not taking that home. Mm-hmm. I'm not feeding it. Okay. So basically that kind of wraps up our tour of, the haunted dolls that we talked about last week and this week. Haunted dolls in weird places, the international factor in Japanese, strange, I guess, multiple types of dolls. And then, of course, this one, the Jinglot from Indonesia. Mm-hmm. There's just something about dolls, I think, is what we've come to the conclusion. I mean, it's like these are items that are made to comfort kids.
Yeah.
Right? It represents innocence. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it kind of creeps us out the most, because when they cross that line from being something cute that your kid plays with to them kind of taking on a life of their own, or a life of someone else's, I should say.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes, terrifying. And it's again, one of those things that's across cultures and continents. This is a phenomenon that happens. Mm-hmm. And while it's sort of, maybe it's superstition, maybe it's a blend of folklore, ancient folklore and stories that have kind of survived time, I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. The next time I'm walking through an antique shop or going over to that aunt's house that has these things up on shelves, I am going to avoid them.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to stay safe and stay far away from toys that are haunted, man.
Well, I don't mean to alarm you here, but
oh boy,
you actually may be sharing a home with a haunted toy and not even know it.
I remember you kind of teased this.
This is a more modern thing, and I know that your kiddo has one, and that is the Labubu doll.
Okay.
The Labubu was created by a famous artist from Hong Kong who received inspiration from Norse mythology. He had a strong love of elves and strange animals. For his 3 Nordic fairy tale picture books, Where Live the Monsters, which are both good and evil, including Zimomo, Taikoko, Spooky, and Pato. Among them, the most famous one is Labubu, a small monster with high pointed ears and serrated teeth. The whole, supposedly, it's supposed to be like a play on like Norse mythology and kind of the mischievous, kind of, we talk about it a lot, like the trickster archetype thing. But there is a lot of like weird parallels with this thing supposedly being connected to this being called Pazuzu, which is interesting because we talk about like Zozo, with Ouija boards, and like, then like Led Zeppelin has like the Zoso, and like throughout history, you do hear this type of like, I mean, it sounds similar, you know what I mean?
Zozo bear.
Zozo bear, definitely demonic. But Pazuzu, back in ancient Mesopotamia, was a demonic deity who was well known to the Babylonians and Assyrians throughout the first millennium BCE. And basically he was, which this is interesting to me, he was the king of the demons of the wind, which is, another way of kind of explaining like what we know is like Satan or Satan.
Oh boy. You're telling me right now, hold on, man, come on. You're telling me right now that I got Satan in my house?
You got Satan in your house. Yeah.
If you need me, I'm going to be fixing up a hefty bucket of salt water. And so don't mind the noise.
Yeah, she can keep the doll, but just make sure there's a circle of salt around it at all times. But yeah, it's
And so this is just, people are kind of what? I mean, like saying that these things are causing problems and wreaking havoc, or is it just like?
Well, kind of. Yeah, there's it's kind of so I don't have, and it's not because I'm like an old man. I mean, I am an old man, but I don't have TikTok because I'm an old man. I don't have TikTok because I just think it's stupid.
It's annoying.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is just, I'm not into this. But they, and no shade for you.
Yeah. I mean, dude, honestly, so many people, I hate to call them creators, but so many people on TikTok have like these quick videos about this kind of stuff, and then they just blow up, and they just got, tons of, listeners and followers. So, teach their own. Good job.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of blown up on TikTok, and it's sort of this thing that, it exactly what you're talking about. It was sort of like created in this meme kind of thing. And honestly, which I haven't said at the top of this show, we talk about it all the time, but the element of sort of implanting this thought onto these things, or grafting this idea onto this thing, that maybe the creator really had nothing.
Just imagine you're this guy that created, or gal that created this thing that's at this point culturally significant, like Tickle Me Elmo was that Christmas that people went berserk for it, right? I mean, these things, if you don't know and you don't have kids, if you have kids that are between the ages of basically like 1 and we'll say 12, it is a phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a craze to kind of collect these things, and there's rare ones, and trust me, I wasn't super thrilled whenever, my youngest, I guess, went shopping and used her birthday money on one of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the other thing is like the Pazuzu, the Mesopotamian deity, it's the demon of storms and disease. And I almost totally went past this, but that's the entity from the movie The Exorcist also.
Oh, great.
The interesting thing is that it is.
I'm pissed.
Well, it's known to be like a trickster kind of thing. I mean,
even its facial expression looks like a little trickster.
Yeah. The Labubu is supposed to be like a trickster and mischievous, and he's got like sharp teeth and stuff. But it is kind of weird when you look at it. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like does all the attention actually make it the thing that people are claiming that it already is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's sort of the weird, because apparently it's just a mischievous like elf. And it was never.
I can happily report.
Okay.
That nothing's been going on at my house.
That you know
there's
of.
Nothing weird. Yeah, but I'd be on top of it, man. Okay. So,
well, there is, interestingly enough,
he's making it up. I can tell.
No, I'm not. Pazuzu was invoked as a protective amulet to ward off other evil spirits like the demoness Lamashtu. So maybe you're actually protecting yourself by having this thing.
I don't want it. I don't even want it.
But yeah, it's weird. And then the funny thing is, then there's like this whole other sort of extension of this to where, what is the fake one called? It's like La Fufu or...
Yeah, that's what the kids call it.
Like the fake one, the counterfeit, like whatever ones. The weird thing about that is, I think originally the haunted Labubu thing, people were like, oh, I saw its eyes move. I saw its head turn, or I saw its eyes move. But then people were claiming like, oh, well, this fake one, the eyes move too, but and then this became like another part of the meme is like, oh, it's because those are like the fake Chinese ones, and they have cameras in the eyes.
Oh boy!
So it's like you can't really win. I mean,
yeah, right. Dude, there's some other things I thought of when we were talking about these dolls and stuff. Do you and then plus my trip to Wizards, which I forgot to mention, I finally have a copy of Wizard on VHS. I thought I had it, but anyway, they had one. I took it. No, but do you remember that movie FX?
Oh yeah.
And then remember how that Australian dude
with a clown,
like an FX artist, and then but I don't remember why bad guys are after him, but he just like kind of escaped because he was just awesome at making stuff like that.
That movie was awesome. Yeah,
so cool. But was it though? Like if we watched it right now, like maybe my son would be like, "What is this?"
No, but I thought of this the other day, and it actually is
because that clown creeped me out. Keep going.
Yeah, the clown, but it also reminded me of another movie, which I don't even think it was supposed to be like scary, but I think Woodrow may think it's awesome. Do you remember the movie The Game?
Yeah, with Michael Keaton.
With no.
Michael Douglas.
Douglas, that's it.
Yes, Michael Douglas. Yeah, but it's rated R. It's not an appropriate kids movie, but yes, that's one of my favorite movies, dude.
Yeah, I used to freaking love that movie. And the clown thing in that is like really creepy.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, when you dig deep, man, there's so many of these movies that kind of have something, there's like little elements of that. And even in FX, it's not really a scary movie. It's, there's just something scary about that clown doll.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like oversized as well,
Right.
Just sitting there. It's just creepy, man.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, which, man, maybe we read this as on one of our Halloween episodes. I don't know, maybe we save it for the Patreon, but that old, like, sort of scary story trope where there's like a clown in the corner, like the babysitter.
Never heard of it.
Oh my dude. Okay, well I'll find it and then I'll save it and then we'll read it.
Okay.
And during the spooktacular. But
yeah, well, I mean, I think next week is the last episode, isn't it?
Are you kidding me?
I think so, bro.
This month is just...
All in all, though, I will say, I kind of came in initially, I mean, yeah, I was excited about Haunted Dolls. I knew that there were some that were going to be kind of creepy, Annabelle, Robert, stuff like that. I didn't realize, honestly, until I started digging through, that there was so much, especially just like globally, and then little tentacles that would kind of reach out from sort of this main sort of theme. It's just fascinating, man, and terrifying.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, another thing that I asked of our listeners is, I seem to remember there was sort of like an urban legend when I was a kid, and Woody and I have talked about this before, but when I looked today, I couldn't really find anything. But it was this urban legend of, I mean, I guess you could just call it like cursed versions of the Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah. Like it would play on its own. We've talked about this. I swear we've talked about this.
Yeah, I think we have too. I tried to look it up this morning, and it kind of just kept leading me to sort of Reddit and like, sort of more like what sounds like creepypasta. But I swear that it was like an actual thing for us growing up. And, thinking back, I'm sure it was probably a product of when those batteries start dying and it's like, my friend, that kind of thing, which was always unsettling, to say the least. But if you guys remember any of those Teddy Ruxpin or some of the, especially in like the 80s, like those kids' toys, feel free to send them in, because I know that there's more that I'm just like forgetting and I can't remember. But yeah, if you guys remember any of those, send them in. I would love to hear about it, and we'll talk about it this season. To do so, you can do that over on our Instagram. Jump in the comments, join the conversation, shoot us a DM. If it's a more long-form story, essay, whatever, send it to thatwouldberadpod@gmail.com. If you want to leave it in your own voice and possibly make That Would Be Rad history, my stomach's growling, you can do so at thatwouldberadpodcast.com, where you can leave your voicemail. We'll put sound design to it, make you sound cool, and like I said, possibly be a part of history and be in a future episode. We love to hear all that stuff. You have your own urban legend, your own ghost story. You have a haunted Labubu also, just like Woody does.
Come on.
We want to hear about it. That stuff's really cool to us. Tell a friend about the show. Leave a 5-star review. If you want to support us in real time, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon, The Rabbit Trail. It's more of what you love. There will be some Halloween goodies over there for our patron members, our best friends. And I guess that's about it. What do you got? Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, pal. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. Stay spooky. And as always,
be rad.
That's the way it goes. You're my favorite song. clouds in a time where I just needed some sunshine. You were already dead, for you became a ghost. You always said our future would be a parade of flowers, but now all that's left is a single rose. That's the way it goes.
Granted.
Feeling good, pal.
Feeling pretty good, pal.
Okay.
May have hit that thing a little late, but
God. Check it at one. How do I sound?
You sound great. How do I sound? Thanks. What if we just had a Patreon? It was just me, it was just a full rant of me just talking about how jealous I am of Ryan.
That would be amazing, but you know what would be even more amazing is if we didn't get another 4 or 5 minutes of just nothing. So let's get started.
Okay.